this willpower show is a lot about the throwbacks. We're seeing some guys step back into the cage for a while. That nickname, T-Train for Prestridge?
Yeah.
That's an original Travis Marks way back in the day. That was the original T-Train, so I like what we're getting here tonight. Some nostalgia. Touch of the gloves. Poinar in the black trunks.
Oh,
Prestridge in the yellow.
Heavy leg kick to open. Wow, big overhand right.
Ooh. Right to work go these 235-pounders. Poinar does not yet appear to be interested in wrestling in this fight. It's all strikes from him, finding a home for the right hand early. Inside leg kick misses there for Prestridge.
Thomas doing a good job throwing some feints with his legs to try and maybe discourage some of those early takedowns.
And now the longer fighter, Prestridge, backing up to control this distance. Oftentimes, when it's a short guy versus a taller, leaner fighter, the onus is on the shorter fighter to try and close that distance. Prestridge so far has not tested any kicks. There was almost on cue. And perfectly timed takedown attempt there by Poinar. Up and down goes Prestridge.
Good elbows from Prestridge from the bottom already. Getting really comfortable with the new rules with in a pro debut.
Poinar forcing Prestridge to carry his weight a little bit here. But Prestridge with those little short, annoying elbows, that ball-peen hammer can sometimes cut a fighter open. And now he climbs his guard high, potentially working for some sort of submission. And here comes a triangle attempt. He's got it behind the knee. Forces Alex Poinar to address it. But true to form, the wrestler is able to settle back down in that scramble.
You could negate a lot of good jiu-jitsu by good pressure that the wrestlers have, and they've shown that. But man, that triangle was close. That was close to getting cinched up tight.
Well executed to keep a guy in top control thinking. Prestridge eats an elbow there. Alex Poinar on top.
Now it is new for Thomas to be in a 5-minute round, and being down there for a long time could feel like an eternity.
You know, he appears pretty composed. You still see him trying to mix up posture changes and a little bit of offense, even with the elbows. So, again, a guy that has 17 fights under his belt, whether they're amateur or they're professional, that's a lot of cage time. At some point, Prestridge is going to have to open his guard from the bottom if he wants to get out of here. Another elbow attempt there from Poinar.
Prestridge throwing some elbows from the bottom still, too, staying active.
I tell you what, he's good at creating the weird angles so that those are actually somewhat significant from the bottom.
Getting his body off to the side, being the taller, longer fighters, like you said, creating those angles to be able to land those elbows on the side of the head.
Nice work here by Poinar with more pressure from the top.
Another good elbow. Kind of glancing, nothing significant with these when they're straight on. It's when Thomas can get off to the side.
I'll tell you what, Prestridge is very good at creating enough of a scramble, enough of an offensive situation that Poinar has to address his opponent's motion before he can really mount any significant striking ground and pound damage from the top. There's a big elbow in response. Nice work by Poinar.
Oh,
Three
big
to
shots.
the body and a big elbow to the head. Now Alex Poinar going to work inside the guard of Thomas Prestridge. Another one right over the top of the left shoulder of Prestridge.
Prestridge doing a good job staying composed, though. He's right here in front of us. He seems fine to stay down here, right here, and deliver his own damage from the bottom.
Well, on balance, throwing from the top is always more opportunity for power, for fight-changing strikes. But Prestridge doing a good job of being a nuisance with those elbows from the bottom. Now he reaches up over. Looks to lock down Alex Poinar. Has the desired effect. The referee says, let's get to work. Poinar does a good job of freeing himself and landing 2 more right hands here. Back to the body and again to the head. Textbook ground and pound from Alex Poinar. Nice elbow.
This fighter's a big hand, ladies and gentlemen.
Alex Poinar gets the takedown.
Our sponsors,
FST
Filtration
from the top.
and Mountain
But there
Land
was
Supply.
never a time when Thomas Prestridge let him settle into a rhythm from the bottom. Those annoying little strikes, look, it's not going to win you around, but it is going to change the complexion of your opponent's game plan when he's on top of you.
If an opponent is just resting on the top and you're the active fighter, you could steal those rounds. Now, I think Alex did a good job of staying active enough in that dominant position to win that round. But, I mean, Thomas was getting his attention with plenty of those strikes from the bottom and submission attempts.
I guess the best way to say it is this: when you're on the bottom for 4 minutes in a round, that's about as close as you can make a round. Prestridge did a good job. He had the submission attempt, got close to that triangle, those elbows. Clearly, Poinar wins the round.
Clearly.
But the margin is not huge. It's a 10-point must system, so it doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be overly significant.
As you see in these lower weight classes, both their cardio looks on point, though.
Poinar's corner left the stool inside the cage. Not on Dave Seljestad's watch.
Dave with the big sigh.
Dave shoots me a look here, cage time. Round 2, 135-pound pro mixed martial arts action. The Willpower Show presented by Fierce Fighting Championship. Aleko Poinar in the black trunks. Thomas Prestridge in the black and yellow. An exchange of inside leg kicks here in early round number 2.
Now, if you're Aleko and you just took him down and controlled him for the entire round, do you go straight back to that, or are you trying to look to have some success on the feet, knowing that you can rely on that later if you need to?
Well, I think you do exactly what you did in round number 1, which is what we're seeing right now. Poinar is working on the feet. He's landing some decent strikes, missing just close on a couple of them. But what'll happen is, in a bigger exchange, similar to that one, he might change levels and shoot. That's how we got Prestridge down to the mat in the first round.
I'm telling you, Thomas Prestridge has an iron chin. He's eating a lot of these shots and wearing them very well.
Now, I'm not trying to say that Thomas Prestridge is one of the Diaz brothers, but he has kind of that similar strange, long, slapping style of striking that can frustrate other opponents, especially shorter opponents.
When I'm looking at Aleko, he's putting a lot of power into these punches. A lot of these overhand rights, he's swinging hard.
Nice body kick there from Aleko.
He is putting a lot into him, and it gets frustrating too when you hit him and you're not slowing anybody down.
Excellent transition there. He goes from the outside single to a double leg, nice power and a finish. And back to where we were for a majority of round number 1.
And looks like a little blood's coming down from Aleko's right eye onto Thomas's rib cage there.
And Prestridge is just in a control position here. He's trying to lock down Poinar in order to get, I think, a stand-up. No submission attempts yet from the bottom here.
Oh.
Nice work again. Poinar doesn't need a whole lot of opportunity. He takes advantage of any little space that Prestridge gives him.
He's doing a great job staying active on top. Prestridge isn't really allowing him to pass his guard at all, though, just keeping a closed guard for the most part.
Back to work with those elbows from the bottom goes Prestridge. Right hand sneaks up over the top there from Aleko. Just misses with a nice strike there, does Poinar.
You got to think at some point Thomas has got to work to get up. You're losing the fight on the bottom, like you said here. You can't just allow him to sit on top of here and clearly go up 2 rounds to nothing going into the third.
And look, he goes back to this this mission control position, as a lot of people like to call it, where he's just trying to lock down Poinar. And he gets the stand-up that he probably wanted. There's that cut you were mentioning on the eye of Poinar. Not sure where it came from.
I'm sure from one of those elbows.
Inside leg kick there from Prestridge. who looks none the worse for the wear considering he spent about 6 minutes on his back getting pounded on. Nice right hand there, sneaks through for Aleko Poinar.
Big deep breath from Aleko, and Thomas is just walking at him. Long snapping punches, and here we go.
Another takedown there. You got to have an answer for those if you want to win a fight. Now he's doing a great job of protecting himself. Passes the half guard, does Aleko Poinar on top.
Really like to see him get his right leg out there and pin down and get to side control.
It's always interesting to see what, unless you train with a guy, you don't really know his strategy once he gets into a spot like this. I actually prefer half guard to side control.
Okay.
Because it pins your opponent down. It's a lot harder for them to get moving. Side control sometimes, if you're not heavy on that side, you can create too much space. So it's all depending. A lot of wrestlers, and here you see Prestridge trying to lock down that right leg. Now, in a situation like this, to your point, once he laces that leg and gets the lockdown, it's probably time to remove and pass. You can't hang out in half guard with somebody controlling your right leg, and that's where Poinar and Prestridge are fighting the battle right now.
Aleko doing a good job with those short left elbows to the side of Thomas's head.
This is a lot of grueling work on the top for not an incredible amount of reward in terms of damage. Control, though, wins you these rounds.
Easily.
Thomas Prestridge is going to have an answer as we head into round number 3.
We'd like
I will
everybody
say
to please
this.
be mindful
Aleko looks
of
tired.
6-foot social distancing
He
and
does.
to wear your
He's a
mask at
wrestler.
all times. Thank you.
And he's probably just going to keep pushing forward.
I'll tell you something. If you make it through college wrestling, I don't care if you're D3 or if you're a D1 national champion, if you can make it through a college wrestling program, fatigue is your friend. It's something you become familiar with. It's something that you've been through. It doesn't scare you. You can have that blood in your mouth, burning in your lungs, and you're still going to keep pushing. I have learned that training with wrestlers, and it is not pleasant when you're on the opposite side of it, I'll tell you that.
Thomas looks extremely composed on the stool there, though. I would love to have a mic on his corner to see what he's telling him, but it's got to be, hey, man, we need a finish here.
Yeah, you're going to need some urgency. And look, a guy who's experienced and he's been in a lot of these kind of back and forth battles should know when to turn it on. The final round of a 3 possible in 135-pound pro mixed martial arts here at Maverick Center in West Valley City, Utah. Fierce Fighting Championships. Nice jab there. Returns the right hand. Alex Poinar scores.
Poinar has still a lot of heat on that right hand that he's throwing.
Absolutely. Clash of the shins there on the inside leg kick attempt.
Oh.
Nice right hand and a follow-up left hook. And a teep from Poinar. Left hook might have been the best punch of the whole fight there.
Thomas just wears it, though. Look at him. Not backing up. He's fine.
Zombie-like composure here from Prestridge.
Diaz brother-like.
And a nice right hand and a left hook lands again for Poinar. Prestridge tests the high kick.
Now, when you're up 2 rounds like this, if you're Poinar, don't really love to stand and bang for the 3rd round and give the guy the opportunity.
Sometimes you can't tell fighters what to do, you know, even if you're in their corner. I don't mind it because he has not yet worn any significant strikes. In these stand-up exchanges, another left hand lands there for Alex Poinar. He's taking glancing blows, but nothing that's really stunned him or shocked him. So I understand why he is trying to get a little bit of stand-up rep in a fight like this. Right hand lands there. He's just got better timing right now, a little bit more speed and heat than Prestridge does. Nice right hand again, good D, and then he answers, which is the most important thing. If you're gonna take one, you gotta trade one back. So if he's gonna absorb punches off of his guard, Poinar does a great job of sending something back. Glancing blow with another right hand. Prestridge testing out his own right. Can't quite find the perfect target.
I don't really care for the way Thomas is chasing him around the cage and not really cutting him off anywhere. Not really taking away not taking away the angles away from Alex right here. There it is.
And there's that blast double. Doesn't even really get all the way down to the legs, just grabs him around the hips and powers him to the mat.
Now it looks like we're going to mount here. That, what, 3/4?
Yeah, transitioning is, and there it is. That's nearly mounted. That's still technically that 3/4 guard, but there's a nice elbow on the left ear of Thomas Prestridge. Aleko Poinar taking control of this fight the same way he did in rounds 1 and 2.
Dishing out a little more punishment right now, though.
Prestridge works back into a half guard here. He's got to get his right underhook if he has any hope of working his way back up to his feet.
Good frame, trying to work, but he is so far away from the cage.
Stand up there from Dave Selustad, not seeing any significant damage from the top.
Felt like he was working, though.
He was working. Nice left hook there, ends at the end of the combination. Good chain wrestling here from Alex Poinar. You got to be careful as Prestridge throws up those desperation submission attempts. Interesting strategy from Poinar to just bury his head, buries his forehead in the mat, so if anything's going to land, it's going to be on the back of his head. But this is why you got to be careful about doing stuff like that. Now Prestridge getting his best chance of the fight to work his way to a dominant position. An inverted triangle potentially an option here.
He's
a little
going for it.
Peruvian perhaps.
Oh, the Peruvian, it was there. It was there. He worked off to the side.
Prestridge still with an opportunity to work to the back of Alex Poinar.
Alec is just hanging onto that right leg, trying to turn that corner to get on top position. It looks like he's going to get it.
Prestridge still very game and fighting. Got to try and sneak his leg out and is not able to do so. Nice wrestling there by Alex Poinar. Ohio native, now training in Las Vegas. Hasn't fought since 2019. Late 2019, November, pre-pandemic. Does not appear to be rusty tonight.
No, not at all. He's looked phenomenal. Very impressed with his wrestling, and striking looks good too.
Smothering pressure here from the top. Just no answer here for Prestridge. Back to work he goes with those elbows, and we were complimentary of those in the first round, but when you're here late in the third round, it's just not enough. You've got to go a little bit bigger than that.
You know, we talk about it all the time in the gym, and when you're working to win fights, you can't be comfortable just settling on the bottom like that. You have to have an incredible offensive jiu-jitsu from your back to feel comfortable settling from the bottom like that. And against a guy with Aleko's credentials, probably just wasn't a great game plan for T-Train there.
So Alex Poinar, successful top control in every round. I'm confident in saying that the judges will get this one right and call it the way we expect. Alex Poinar moves to 2-0, barring any major surprises.
I think that's pretty safe to say.
While we're waiting for the judges' scorecard, I want to tell a story about the man who this entire card is a tribute to, Will Farah, the former owner of Showdown Fights, a guy who launched a lot of MMA careers from the local scene here in the state of Utah, my own included. He tried to get James Irvin, the Sandman, to come fight me, a UFC veteran. When you're on the way up, you got to fight someone who's on the way down. That's typically how you improve your resume. Everyone in the sport knows this. He tried to bring in James Irvin to fight me. James had some issues going on and wasn't able to show up for the fight, but he didn't give us notice. I showed up at weigh-ins, James Irvin was not there. He hadn't gotten on the plane from California.
Nice.
I'm devastated that I don't get to fight. This was going to be the biggest fight of my career. I thought well positioned to beat a guy like that, and a win like that probably could have launched me into the UFC or one of the major organizations. And Will knew that, and that's why he had given me the fight. I wasn't My opponent didn't show up. This is not the UFC. This is not Bellator. This is not the Professional Fighters League. This is not one championship. Will Ferrell still paid me because he thought it was the right thing to do. He knew I'd put in a camp. He knew I was ready and I was professional. He still paid me. He didn't have to do that. He still paid me. And it was not a small amount for a small show. Took care of all of us. We love you, Will. Dave Selustad has the official decision inside the cage.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this fight comes to an end with a judge's decision. Richard Montanez scored this fight 30-27. Dan First scores this fight 30-27. And Jeffrey Dutcher scores this fight 28-29 for your winner by majority decision, Alex Poinar!
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching Fierce Fighting Championship on YouTube. For more daily content, make sure to click that subscribe button as well as the bell so you don't miss any of our daily fights, podcast clips, highlights, as well as our full weekly podcast. If you want to tune into one of our live shows, go ahead and head over to fiercefightingchampionship.com.